voucher, let us know and we can take the voucher and we can choose These are all, I think, written by the authors who are going to be presenting to us. The final thing I'll say before we get started, Ahmed's going to do the introduction for the panel itself, but we are constantly looking for volunteers to help us. So we're looking for editors, graphic designers, illustrators, people to help bind the zines, distribute the zines, print the zines. The zines are placed in bookstores and events sort of all around the world. So it's an incredible opportunity to get involved in the press as well. So I'm going to stop talking and please reach out to one of us. We're kind of all over here if you have any questions and if you want to get involved. Yeah, please let us know. I want to say thank you to Casino, obviously, for having us time and time again. Really appreciate your hospitality as well. And please tip the bartenders and grab some drinks and food as well. So thank you so much. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it up to Ahmed.
Hi, can you hear me good? Okay. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to our dear guests and audiences, wherever you are and whenever you hear us. My name is Ahmed Al Khawaja. You can just call me Ahmed or Ahmed, however you like it, all goes well. And I will be your moderator for today's panel discussion. First, I would like to say how lovely it is to see you today. You're all shining and the sun is also in the background shining. I hope it's not too hot. I'm very excited to introduce you to our panel speakers. Some of them have joined Coastal Press recently as writers and are taking the virtual stage with us also for the first time. So, because time is never neutral, for some, it is measured in deadlines and calendars. For others, in waiting, displacement, return, memory, and survival. What happens to time when tomorrow can no longer be imagined? This is our question. Starting from today, with this first discussion, Sailing Beyond Hudood, a new project launched by Coastal Press that centers panel talks between writers from Gaza and our global audience, just like you. Through this series, we would like to explore together with our listeners ideas and questions that refuse human-made borders, beginning with one of the most elusive, time. Today's panel is titled Time Without Tomorrow. Since the morning of the 7th of October 2023, Gaza's time has branched out of the collective global time. It has been left out, almost forgotten beyond videos and photos that an algorithm is trying to push or hide. And now, Gaza and Gazans are living in this quote-unquote branched time that almost exists outside the frame time that everyone else lives in. Another time siege that is layered upon the siege of place. Today, we are asking questions of human and time relationship. What is it like and what it means to be Gazan during time of genocide? Participating authors will present their point of view on these questions from their own experience and thoughts. Before we start, follow the speakers on their social media pages and don't hesitate to ask questions during the panel talk or reach out to them for a chat after the events, however you like. We would like to thank our Coastal Lines family members who have and are working on editing, printing and binding, designing and illustrating, and distributing zines. Now, I will introduce our speakers for today, Ahmed Sarsour, Hanin Zaqqout, Duha Al-Shuqaqi, and Khalid Al-Qirshalli. First, we will start by introducing Khalid. Khalid is an English language and literature graduate and a former student of Rifat Al-Harir, whom Israel killed in December 2023. Khalid works as a writer and a journalist, and he's the author of Echoes of Survival and Fragments of Being. Duha is a Palestinian writer, poet, and humanitarian storyteller from Rafah City, currently living and studying in Ireland. Her work intersects creative expression and journalism, driven by a deep-rooted dedication to human rights and advocacy. As a student of global media and creative writing, Duha dedicates her voice to ensuring that the stories of her people are witnessed, remembered, and felt globally. Haneen, she is a Palestinian writer, poet from Gaza, and a precious alumna of the Between the Lines International Writing Program at the University of Iowa. Her work revolves around Palestinian inheritance, displacement, belonging, and motherhood. She writes to reclaim the human narrative of often obscured by the political barriers. And last, we have Ahmad, who also is named like me. He is a Palestinian Sudanese poet, aspiring filmmaker, activist, and human rights advocate shaped by displacement and resistance. He spent 21 years in Sudan before fleeing the man made war and later enduring Gaza's catastrophic war. A self taught English speaker and an artist, Ahmad's writings are forged through pain, love, and resilience. His work advocates urgently for Gaza amidst the genocide, challenging dehumanizing thoughts, challenging dehumanization through verse and using art as a form of resistance and healing. Ahmed lives by the ethos no one left behind and believes that true freedom is collective. No one is free until we are all free. So I would like to start with, okay, a second. We would like to start with Khaled. Khaled, um, how is your relationship with time and how did it change since October 2023? Tell us more about it.
Okay, so first, can you hear me? Okay. First of all, I want to thank everyone who came to hear us today and our words and express how much I appreciate this. So, how time changed for me since October the 7th. Before October the 7th, I was focused on my study. I was in the fourth year. In the fourth year, I was planning to graduate with another A plus. So later, after graduating, I could have a job or a scholarship to pursue my postgraduate studies abroad. But in a sudden, all my plans were destroyed. I stopped experiencing time mainly through I stopped planning for my future and started live each day just this is the day that I have without any plans or anything. My life was only about waiting for the water trucks, waiting in queues to receive aid, or sometimes even going to the aid distribution points and so life itself was changed. Everything was my routine was to and then go to the market to whoever is there to buy, like buying some flour, sugar, or something to eat. Then I used to sit with some people where I was displaced in the Balah hours or something. Uh, after I During that period, after that, I used to like that's it. Then go to sleep without doing anything useful in my day. Uh, Also, I was every day there was electricity for 1 hour a day. So the thing that I could do is just wait until there is electricity to charge my phone, start writing something or doing something with my life. Other than that, all my day was around survival. And this routine didn't stop. It continued for 2 years, since 13 October 2023, the day I evacuated from my home in Al Nasser neighborhood to a school's backyard in Deir al Balah. And that continued until the 16th of January 2026. What I also want to mention is that time changed in a way that I actually don't remember like any events from the 2024 year, because I was more focused on editing on my life. I only remember some events like when my friend Muhammad was killed, or when my friend Abdullah was killed, which is both who was both killed in the same day in the 20.
Khalid,
Yes.
yeah, okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. So what I was saying is time now changed in a way that I can only remember it through like some major events, like when the famine started, or when food was when I was able to find food in the market or something, and when my friend Abdullah and Muhammad were killed. Both of them were killed in the same day, that 24th of November 2023, or when Dr. Rifat Al was killed. And yeah, so in this way that through major events. So the central idea of the time and how it changed is before October the 7th, time felt like something I was moving through. I was able to plan for my future, what I'm going to do, and such stuff. However, this changed, and now it's only surviving while trying as much as possible to find an opportunity to improve my life or find whatever a thing that I want to pursue.
Thank you, Khaled, so much for this. And I would like to move on to ask Duha. Since you have mentioned that you have left Gaza, I would love to ask you, how do you feel that people outside of Gaza are living in a different sense of time? Can you can you tell us more about that, about the people in time, like the time inside and outside of Palestine and how it differs, and what you have noticed through the time while you're being outside?
Yeah, sure. First of all, like this month will mark a year for me abroad Gaza. I was evacuated from Gaza in the last week of the ongoing genocide. And since then, I feel that I'm living in two totally different time zones. Like, okay, I'm living here in Ireland, pursuing my life, pursuing my education, but also my mind is still back with my family because, like, everyone is still back there. My family, my siblings, my friends, everyone who is beloved and dear to me is still back then there. So it's really very challenging to kind of balance, or you're in a position that you have to keep going with your life, like you have no other choice, but also you can't do so because of many stuff. And the first and most important thing is the guilt of, okay, everyone is saying enjoy it, it's a new chapter for you, but how can I enjoy it while knowing that my siblings can't enjoy it? How can I enjoy a piece of chocolate while I know that my youngest sister, who is only 6, is craving it, for example? So it's really challenging, it's really difficult, it's full of many emotions. Like I have to process all the grief, all the stuff that I've lived, and keep going. And talking about the different time zones, when I first came here, I was like, oh my God, how, like, what do these people do with their lives, with their times? they have so much free time because back then in Gaza, even if you just want to prepare breakfast, this would take about 2 hours minimum just to collect the wood and then light the wood, light the fire, and then prepare your meal. And for example, if you want to wash the dishes after you finish, you have to grab a bucket of water. And as Khalid mentioned, that you have to stand in a long queue to secure water. So everything is so complicated. Everything that is being taken for granted outside Gaza is a real issue inside Gaza. Everything is challenging, everything is difficult. Like electricity. Here, for example, if you want to charge your phone, you just plug it in and end of story. It would not take you anything. But back home in Gaza, like you have to go to a certain place that you know that they have a solar panel there and to charge your phone. And your phone may be, I don't know, maybe stolen, maybe broken, or God knows what happened. So it's totally two different words, let's say.
Yeah, and with that, I would love to move on to Haneen to ask her, between being a human and being a writer and a poet, we always use literary devices, and we always see the clock, we measure time. But I would like to ask, how does one measure time when survival becomes the top priority for you? Like this, like you have to live. This is in this situation. What is time and how we can measure it, if we can ever even measure that?
Hi, everyone. First of all, I hope you're having a good time. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to see a good audience actually having fun. I hope you're having fun at least. Coming back to the question, how does one measure time when survival is your priority? I think when survival becomes your priority, you stop measuring it in like the general way you would measure time, which is seconds, minutes, hours, and days. In general, you start measuring it in like smaller units. You start measuring it, as just Khalid said, by waiting for your next meal to arrive, or by waiting for water to arrive, or by waiting for these bombs to go away, or for genocide to end in general. And so these, for example, if you're waiting, it's not like you're waiting for your order from IKEA to arrive, which is fun. It's eager. You're eagerly waiting for that, and it's fun. But they're waiting for something to arrive, which is safety and security that has never arrived in Gaza, even before the genocide. And so time becomes much more like primitive. It becomes, you stop asking questions like, what will I do next weekend? Or how should I plan the next birthday party for my kid? Or questions like, kids stop asking questions like, what will I become when I grow up? They start asking like, will I survive this genocide? Will I wake up the next morning? What should we, oh, when will my turn come? So the kids in Gaza are now worrying about when will their turn come to like collect food in the aid distribution, the food distribution points. Like kids aged 8 or 10 years old are worrying about who is gonna collect food, who is gonna go bring water. These are the basic things that you need in life, which is safety and security to be able to imagine, to be able to create a better future for yourself. And when destruction and death surrounds you in every step, like you're all the time dodging death, literally, your mental state becomes stuck in the fight and flight like mode. It's the survival mode for you. So your basic need is like, I need to survive this, or else what can I do? So that's how it is. It's sad. And I mean, that's when your relationship with time changes, when security goes away, you know. I mean, yeah, that's for me. That's how I think. You start measuring your time in survival, in news updates. For me personally, I started measuring my time in the peak of the genocide. I started measuring my time in when will I be able to hear my family's voice, to be able to know are they alive or not. So that's how it was for me. It was crazy. It was like going into depression. And so that's how it is. It's survival. When you're in the state of survival, it leaves very little space for creativity, for imagination, even for children. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Hani, and thank you so much. And for the audience, before we move on to ask Ahmad, I would love to remind you that you can ask. Don't be afraid or ashamed or think or fear that your question would be offensive in any matter. Just go ahead with it, and a friend cannot betray a friend. So just a kind reminder. Now with Ahmad, I would, since you have lived most of your life in Sudan and then you have moved to Gaza during the genocide, or just before it started, just briefly. We have talked with the authors about time moving, slowing, and doing all of weird stuff and experiencing time in strange manners. I would love to ask you, how did you feel about time, and did time stop for you, and at any stage, and is time still running for you?
Yeah. Thank you, Ahmed. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's so good to see so many faces. I hope that you're enjoying the evening so far. For me, it's not as simple as saying that the time stopped. Like, it did stop, and it didn't stop once. It did stop twice for me, unfortunately. Once on the 15th of April of 2023, and then again on the 7th of October of 2023, which is I witnessed 2 genocides in less than 6 months. And I did witness the destruction of my hometown in Palestine, in Gaza. And I did witness the destruction and burning of my home in Khartoum. Both atrocities that left me speechless. But in the first time when I felt the time stopped on the 15th of April, we were trying to cope as much as we could. We tried to hold our ground, to stay there, because like we built a life there for 21 years. We had everything there, our home, our friends, our belongings, and everything. And we didn't hesitate to stay there. But unfortunately, the RSF soldiers, they were attacking everyone, especially the foreigners. And after all, like, for even if I stayed there for 20 years, they can spot us out from the crowd. So in fear of our lives, we had to move back to my hometown, Gaza. And for a very long time, like before the genocide started in Sudan on the 15th of February 2023, I was working as an engineer. I'm not actually an artist. Like, recently, I discovered this about myself. And I was bored with my studies and work. So I wanted to be a flight attendant, and I did take the course, and I managed to get a high score, like in the Civil Aviation Authority in Sudan. And I was going to start my new job actually in April. But unfortunately, all of my dreams scattered, and I went into depression. And when we arrived here in Gaza on the 1st of June of 2023, I felt like all my world has collapsed. Time did literally stop for me, because like I am living here in Gaza. I don't have any source of income. I don't have my job that I used to hate, and I don't have the job that I wanted, to visit the world, to see everything, and to make good friends and see the historical cities around the globe. And I felt like I have a responsibility towards myself and towards my family, to not fall into depression. So I started to replan again. I made a plan. I wasn't going to settle in Gaza, because Gaza has been and is still an open air prison. Like, there's not enough job opportunities here, and the income that you make is so little. It's barely, you can barely live here in Gaza. So I made a plan, and my friends, they were waiting for me in Egypt, and I was going to go there, and I did issue my passport and everything. But unfortunately, it's not easy to get out of Gaza. You have to wait in line as well. You have to register yourself at Rafah border, and then you will wait for the security back check. And I was waiting, and then on the 7th of October, all my new plans, they started again and time stopped again for me. And for 3 years now, more than 3 years for me, since the 15th of November of 2023, I feel like I am living hours out of time. Like I lost track of everything. I don't keep up with what is the day that I am living. I don't count the months. I don't count anything because unfortunately I am kinda just breathing but not alive anymore.
Thank you, Ahmed, for sharing with us. I would like to go back to Khaled, since you have mentioned your plans with getting a master's degree abroad and continuing on your studies. I would love to ask, how has living through this genocide changed your ability to imagine or even plan for the future? Tell us about how you're going through all of this and how you're processing.
Okay, so what I want to say is before the genocide, the situation also wasn't that good. Plans weren't guaranteed, but someone was hoping to like improve his life. Just imagine or assume that he could have a future by finding a job or pursuing a master or something. And before the genocide, also like it wasn't like really amazing time, but it was good time. I had my phone, I had my laptop, I set up in my home with screens, keyboard, and everything. But during the genocide, my laptop was ruined, and I wanted to fix it, but there was no like spare pieces to fix it, and I used to depend on like everything. I lost it. So with that, I started losing the belief that I could have a future to just achieve something in my life. But I tried as much as I could to do more and achieve something. And so I turned to use my phone. And also doing that, I had to wait for my phone to charge, which take like 2 hours a day, and I charge two times, which is around 4 hours a day. I have to wait in queues to fill potable water, which is which takes time. I have to try to walk. Like in the beginnings where I was displaced, I had to walk for around a kilometer just to find an internet signal, just to contact my friends or something. And while I was doing Gaza, a friend of mine who was my colleague in the university here, but had the chance to travel before the genocide. My friend is now pursuing his PhD in the USA, while I'm still challenging and still like trying to move on and do something with my life. It is really devastating that I see 3 years of my life just passed without having the opportunity or having the just a good condition to achieve something with my life. Before the genocide, I used to feel like time belonged to me, that I could decide that today I'm going to study this subject, tomorrow I will go out with a friend or something. But now you can decide nothing. Like before this meeting, uh, I was in a meeting with which is part of We Are Not Numbers cohort, and the meeting with the cohort was for 2 hours, but it took me 5 hours just to attend the meeting. I had to wake up earlier to prepare myself to find a transportation which can't be found here. So I had to walk to reach there, and that took more than an hour. And the same with returning to my home. So everything in Gaza takes time, takes long time just to do the basics that anyone could do in few minutes. And the problem is that time is our lives being just passed.
Thank you for that, Khaled, and we truly wish the situation gets better and all of the students and those who need medical evacuation from Gaza get it soon. And we have talked about time so far, and we are now have mentioned the almost universally used currency, which is an hour, which is 60 minutes. Now, there is so much talking about time and about hours wasted and invested and gone by. I would like to ask Duha, at this point, what do you think is an hour? What is an hour?
I like this question, but not even an hour. It can be a minute or a second. That makes all the difference. Like me doing a global media degree, I can see how on each minute, each second, something new can pop up. It can change the whole game, the whole world. Can flip your life upside down. You can be doing fine at this moment, and then the very next moment can be totally transformative. That's why I'm often content when people say there's no news, or like I just check on them. I'm like, okay, nothing new, no news. I'm super happy there because I know that, for example, in Gaza, no news means good news, means that they are fine, they are still managing. Because what kind of news am I expecting to come? Here's the point. That's it for me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Duha. Now for Haneen. I'm sorry that we will keep bringing up this topic of genocide, but how has your past affected, how was your past affected by the events following the 7th of October, the genocide, basically? And how it's maybe also affecting your present and future?
There's a controversial German philosopher called Heidegger who talks about in his one of his writings about philosophy about time. He says that we are all thrown into this world where we did not choose our past, we did not choose our family, our language, our history. And so our past becomes a part of who we are today in the present moment. And we continuously keep interpreting our past from where we are today in the present. So you keep looking and revisiting your past memories from where you are in the present. So for someone in Gaza, it's not only exclusive to Gaza, actually anyone who's going through a genocide or a war or something terrible or a trauma in their lives, destruction doesn't only take place in the present. It's destroying your past memories. It's going backwards as well. It's extending backwards. For me, the good memories that I had about my childhood are all gone today. The school, the teachers who I looked up to, who taught me good Arabic to speak, they're all gone. And other thing also that I think I mourn is not what we lost, but what we could have had or what could have existed otherwise. The lives that could have existed, the teachers that I looked up to, that every time I needed advice in writing, I used to go to a mentor who is no more alive today. He was killed, and he was a writer and a famous poet. And so every time I would need an advice in writing, he would guide me. He was kind enough to guide me through the writing and everything. And so he's no more there. So we mourn the lives that could have existed, that could have changed, affected, and influenced a younger generation. That's really sad. And so my past memories in general have become very vague and kind of eclipsed by the events following the 7th of October. And the future, I mean, for me right now, tomorrow is enough. I don't anticipate, I don't keep thinking about the possibilities in future because the situation, the present situation, I'm not living in the genocide right now. My family's there. But for me, I don't want to anticipate a lot about the future because the possibilities are very narrowed, violently narrowed actually, by the present situation. So I just keep on thinking about tomorrow, baby steps, you know. What am I going to cook tomorrow? What I'm going to study tomorrow? That's enough for me. So tomorrow becomes enough in times of when destruction and death and genocides occur. You don't anticipate, you don't look for a further future. You just keep taking baby steps. And somehow you get stuck in the past. For many people in Gaza, including my family, many of people are stuck in the day before the 7th of October. So when you're stuck in the past and your present is all destroyed and it's just destruction, you go out there, there's a landscape of like rubble in front of you. It literally obscures your imagination for a better future, for a better life. So your future becomes just inaccessible and unimaginable. And that's not natural. It's man-made. It's forced upon you. That's it.
You know what, Haneen? I totally echo every single word you mentioned here because I was just talking with Ahmad and he was kind of asking about whether I have some future plans or something. I was like, I'm still stuck there. My mind is totally used to react rather than act. I can't plan, I can't put long-term plans because this is how my mind has been systematically programmed and coded. Like whenever, like during the genocide, you can't expect what can happen the very next hour. Like I remember one night I slept in my bed at midnight, but at 2 a.m. in the morning, I found myself in the street, paralyzed, which is crazy. Like you go to sleep and you wake up in a very totally other place. I have many friends who woke up and found the rubble just like covering them. Some did not wake up at all. So how are we supposed to plan and imagine a future while all we are taught, all what we are used to is just like a react, not to actually act. We are not in control of our lives, of our moments. So that's the issue.
Actually, we're in temporal siege. Our minds are under siege, not physically only.
I can just but to agree with you. And Ahmad, your situation is very unique since you've moved countries and places, and sadly you're losing both of them at the same time. So tell us, what is time for those who come to Gaza as refugees? This is very rare occasion and very unique situation that very, very, very few people find themselves in. And we would love and appreciate your insights into this human situation.
First, thank you. Well, I want to be honest here. Gaza wasn't our first choice. We were planning to visit Egypt or like go to Egypt, me and my family. They were my brother, my mom, and my dad. And we already have a brother there in Egypt, and my two sisters, they are here in Palestine, in Gaza. They are married with kids, but we have never seen their kids before. So we tried to go to Egypt, but unfortunately, we faced the same fate that all Gazans face after the 7th of October. You need to pay a lot of money to have the exit permit. Like for us to get the visa to go to Egypt, they were asking for like 5,000 US dollars, and we didn't have that kind of money on us. And then the embassy, the Palestinian embassy in Cairo, and they said that they will facilitate sending us to our hometown, but we're not to set any foot on Egyptian soil. So we were accompanied by military vehicles, tanks, police cars all the time, and they did manage to get us from the border, Al Guinea border, which is between Sudan and Egypt, to the Rafah border in less than 24 hours, which was a miracle. And for me, when I arrived in Gaza, as I said, I was pretty depressed when I came here. I lost a new future that I was planning for a year, and it took me so much to get to what I got there in Sudan. And when we came here, I decided that I won't give in to depression. I won't give in to my situation, and I am going to rise up and stand again. And it was an opportunity for me to see my sisters again and to reunite with them and to see my nephews and my nieces. So for a brief time, I felt like time was unlimited for me. I was enjoying the company of my sisters. I was meeting my nephews and my nieces for the first time and hearing their stories, seeing their innocence, their laughs, and playing with them. I go places with them, and I visited like the beach a couple of times. I love the ocean and sea very much. So I went to the Mediterranean Sea, which is nearby my house, and I felt for the very first time that I'm connecting with my land. I am reconnecting with the people. I started to make friends, and I started to get to know to my relatives, because like I was away for 21 years and I don't know anyone. But unfortunately, that unlimited time felt pretty limited after the 7th of October. My sisters couldn't manage to come to visit. We couldn't manage to see them. All of the friends that I was developing a relationship with, they were like staying at home, because like in the very beginning of the genocide, no one leaves the house after like 5 p.m. After the sunset, no one leaves the house, and we were like isolated from the whole world. For I don't know if you remember this about the genocide, but for a couple of days in the very beginning of the genocide, they did cut off the internet, and they also cut off all of the any cellular connections. Like we didn't have the connection of phones either. So for a couple of hours, you will be at your house. You don't know what's going on outside. You don't know if your sisters, your friends, your family, your relatives, are they still alive? Are they dead? Did I attack them? Did they leave the house? Did they evacuate? It's nothing, like a lot of questions. And it was really pressuring, and it gave me an anxiety all again. And I was struggling all over again for the second time in my life, and in less than 6 months. And it was so hard, because it was the first time to see my nephews and my nieces, and I was so scared for them. And in December, they did evacuate Khan Yunis, and they came to stay with us. And I was relieved for a brief time, because finally they are safe there with us. Like I won't wonder anymore if they are going to survive or not. Like if we're going to die, we're going to die, all of us together. But the feeling is still here. It didn't go away. And what seems like a pretty good choice to come back to Gaza, we are now reaping the very awful circumstances of what we have stepped into. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, for trusting us and sharing your experience with us. I really love what Haneen has said, in that there is a siege of time. So Khalid, if you can tell us, can time itself become a form of a siege? We know that, and there is multiple reports of Gaza being an open air prison. Nothing goes in, nothing goes out. And now we're discussing the topic of time. Can time itself now be another weight, another siege on Palestinians in Gaza? And how does it manifest in your life?
Okay, so first I want to say that time is a form of siege because here in Gaza, you do not have like we do not live in the same time that people around the world are living in because like you can plan what to do as we said, and here you can plan nothing because all you want is to survive. You cannot decide when you are going to meet a friend or when you are going to work or anything. You do that when it's only available. Like I here in Gaza, like yesterday, there was an electricity cut in my neighborhood. Like the electricity went off around 11 p.m., which is a bit early here. And yeah, what I did is just I went to sleep because I have nothing to do, and that just happened. So I can do nothing. And also, as I said, there is that endless list of waitings that you have to wait for aid, to wait for water, to wait to have an internet signal, to wait to electricity to come, to wait for everything. So this waiting is also another form of siege that is imposed upon us by the Israeli occupation. Also, part of the time being a siege is the waiting for good news. So, since the beginning of the genocide, and people here in Gaza were saying that the last for 2 months, 1 month, it will end in 1 week, 2 days, or something, and everyone was always waiting for that good news, and till now, it didn't arrive, and people here are starting to believe that this good news will never arrive because of the siege of time. Also, part of time being a siege is that you have no control of anything. As I said, with the example of electricity, and I can say an example of like the transportation and the one session that I have to attend today, or like uh, when I have like to eat something, like I want to eat, like have my dinner in an hour, and I still don't know what I'm going to eat because my mother was taking care of my grandfather today, so she didn't have time to cook. So I still have to go to the market and do all of that now. So if I have something else to do, I wouldn't be able to do that because I have to go to the market. And why of that? Why is that? That is because uh, is expensive, so you don't turn on refrigerators or something, so you cannot store food as usual. Also, part of time being a siege is that you don't know when are you going to live tomorrow, or just you will sleep and not waking up. I remember while I was displaced in the Balah, I was working on my second article, and I borrowed a friend's laptop to start writing on and writing that article. While I was doing so, the steam plan just started hovering around my head. So I stopped writing and just prayed to remain alive. Uh, but personally, during the genocide, some days weren't that hard. But the problem of time being a siege is is that you don't know when good time is coming. Like you don't know when this will end, when you will be able to take control of your life again.
Thank you. Thank you, Khalid. Now, I would like to ask Duha, since you are now outside of Palestine, outside and away from the genocide in Gaza, now as a student studying global media and creative writing, I would like to ask how, as a student who is looking into global media and studying it, how can the news suspend or manipulate people, especially Gazans, in time? Like, how does it? How does the media do that?
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, doing global media and creative writing, I have to combine between these two things. And I often think about how really news can change everything, uh, starting like from this ongoing genocide. Everyone's life, every Gazan's life has dramatically changed in all aspects. So here's the thing, like imagine what Donald Trump done, all his actions and all his policies. He dreams that he wants to invade that country, so he wakes up and go ahead. No one is there to punish him, no one is there to say no to him, for example. So here's the huge fallacy of news, of power. Doing like a global media degree allows me to understand more about how politics work, let's say, how policies work, how news are framed as well. Like, for example, we studied a lot about how to frame the title of an article. If, for example, the ones who are killed are Palestinians, how would it be? Or if the ones who are killed are white, for example, or Western, it's totally different. So you can see how everything is so manipulated, everything is so different depending on who are the ones being targeted. And talking about the news, like last month, I believe I'm still, as all Palestinians in the diaspora are still in all of the news groups. So I got a notification at 2 a.m. that there is an airstrike in a spot that is in Deir al-Balah, in a place that is so close to my family's, where my family is staying. I did not blink an eye that night. Seriously, like I reached out to my parents, everyone, my siblings. In the beginning, no one replied because it was 4 a.m. for them. But then they woke up and they told me we're fine, it's okay. It was a huge panic for us, but we are fine. But of course, like imagine that. It's really, really beyond crazy, I believe.
Yes, totally, Duha. The situation is, as you have said, it's crazy. There is no better word for it to
Everything
describe it.
changes at the very instant. Here's the word of news, the word of policies, and the word of, uh, of power, let's say. Any crazy guy wants to do anything, he can go ahead and no one says no. Because he knows that there's no punishment.
Yeah. Accountability at this point is a dream, a fantasy.
Unfortunately.
I'd like to move forward with Haneen to ask and explore more on how we can move forward. How can we move forward when the future becomes inaccessible in this in light of what has Duha told us in regards of media and in light of what Ahmad is experiencing and what Khalid is trying to achieve, how can we move?
It's more like, how can you continue your life? Because moving forward means you gotta let the past behind you and then move somewhere. You have somewhere to go to. But for people who are stuck in the present moments and who are under siege, you know, who are under occupation, who are suffering through a genocide, they don't have somewhere to look forward to. They don't have a dawn or a future to look forward to, literally. So they have to continue because life continues, and so you have to move on. Physically, you're aging, you're growing, everyone's growing old. I'm growing a lot of white hair, so we're growing old physically, but mentally, you are stuck. And so that's a challenging task. Like, you have to move on from that. How do you move on from that? And as Khalid and a lot of my peers said today, that time becomes a form of siege. You're literally under siege mentally because you're always forced to think about simple things in life to end. You're waiting for traveling to get a better health insurance or better health care. You're waiting to cross the borders. You're waiting for someone to return alive. You're waiting for this genocide to end in general. And eventually, waiting itself becomes a condition for your existence. I don't know how many of you can relate when waiting becomes a condition for your existence. It's literally all you can do all day. And it's the cruel thing about waiting is that it doesn't only occupy the present, but it's preventing you from moving forward. It's preventing you from literally saying bygones are bygones, like, okay, let's just close the past chapter and let's move on. So that's what it's doing to you. Physically, you're alive in the present. You're in the moment. I'm here with you. All are here with me. But psychologically, my mind is literally suspended between what has happened and what might happen. And for many people who are going through this traumatic situation, and that's what I think your mind becomes under siege, and you cannot move forward from that. One thing I would also like to add is that it was even before the genocide. It's not about the genocide. It's about the situation that's been happening before also. The siege that has been imposed to us. It's not only physical, it's temporal siege. Because, for example, when I was growing up in Gaza, I always imagined my future being outside of Gaza. That's not by choice. That's because I was forced to think in that way because I was lacking resources, lacking better education in Gaza, better facilities in general. And I did not have a lot of choice to study. Like, I don't have a lot of choice to choose between which university I want to go for a better future. So that's why I had to think of going outside of Gaza to have a better future and able to have a better life for myself. And so when resources lack, vastness lacks, you're bound to just be stuck in the present, and your mind becomes just under siege, and therefore you cannot move forward. So yeah, we're aging continuously, but we cannot move forward until situation gets better. Hopefully it gets better.
Inshallah, it gets better, Haneen, and we can never lose hope. That's what we have. And with the topic of time moving forward, I would love to ask a final question for Ahmed on this talk, on this panel discussion, in which you have a very unique experience in having experienced what we can only say between a million quotes and unquotes relative peace and war. Like, you have lived in Sudan and you have lived in Gaza in both times when they were at peace and the relative peace and at war and in genocide. So you have a very unique situation in living in both times, in the past and in the present and in the future, in war and peace, and in the old you and the current you and the you that you're trying to get to. Tell us about that. Tell us about your journey.
Um, well, it wasn't easy and it wasn't planned, as I said. Me coming back to Gaza in the very beginning when I reunited with my sisters and my nephews and my nieces, it was like a breath of fresh air. Their laughs were infectious. Their stories were interesting. There's always something new with them, and they used to come to every weekend, and they will stay like for a couple of nights, and it did start to become habit to do that with them. And even on the Saturday of the 7th of October, they were with us actually. And I believe that I did experience all of these good memories with them. Like Zayn, he was less than 2 years old when I met him, and my other nephews, they were less than 4 years old. I am an uncle, by the way. I am 33 years old, and I am not married. I don't have any kids, but I love my sisters so much. I have a good connection with them. All of us do. Like the 7 of us who were in Sudan, me and my 2 sisters and my 2 brothers, my mom and dad. And the decision when they decided that to come back to Gaza, it was like the hardest decision ever. It was the time when we were separated, and when we when we did reunite here, it was like they have never left, like they have never been away, and their kids, like they have all of their personal traits. I love them as if they were my own. And my sister Rania, she gave birth during the genocide twice. Now I am an uncle to 7 beautiful children. 2 of them were born to genocide. Rose, she was born on the 22nd of February of 2024. At that time, she was still with us, like in our house here, the house that I am still in right now. Their houses were destroyed in the very same month when they got the news, and my sister went into labor, and then Rose arrived to this ugly world. I can't describe it any other way, to be honest, at this point. And I used to feed her. She used to be calm with me, and she was 2 days old when I first fed her, and then 6 days old, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But after a while, when the destruction of Rafah happened, my aunties, they were forced to evacuate there, and they came to stay with us. And the house it started to get really, really crowded. So we needed to make space. Alhamdulillah, my sisters, they had a house that they started building before the genocide. So they lost the house that they were living in, but the other that they were trying to reconstruct, it was still standing. So my sister Rania left to make more room to my aunties that arrived, the displaced families that we welcomed in our house. And after that, I didn't see Rose for 4 months. And when I saw her, she didn't recognize me. She wasn't happy to see me. And I remember that day, I was trying to kiss her, to hold her, and she didn't allow me. And when I was saying goodbye, I kissed her on her cheek, saying goodbye, and she cried. I didn't know. I felt like I lost the connection, and I feel like this is what Israel robbed us from. Like we say that time when there's no tomorrow. The tomorrow is there. It was there. It was the Sunday that there was like no genocide. It was when I reunited with my sisters, when I witnessed the first steps of Rose and first steps of my nephew Yusuf, seeing their laughter and seeing how they eat, and I was able to feed them and everything. But that tomorrow, they took it away from us. They stole it, not just from me, from every family, from every Gazans who are living in Gaza now or outside Gaza. The tomorrow never come, and I feel angry all the time about this, because these are the times and the time in general that they stole from us, and there's no way that they are going to give it back. It's like what Hanin said, what we could have had, and this is something that we are not going to get again. And honestly, I am still appealing to the world for these genocides to stop, to maybe have a tomorrow again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you, Khaled. Thank you, Haneen. Thank you, Duha. And if the audience has any questions in regards of any parts of the conversation, please go ahead. Yeah. Any raised hands? No? Don't be shy.
Repeating? Yeah, is that okay? Yeah. You have a question?
Hi, thank you so much for sharing your life with us, and thank you for organizing this moment. I feel it's really precious. And my question is about writing and time. I'm sorry. I have actually two questions, and one is if your relation with writing changed after October 7th, as well as, you know, we were discussing about time and how it changed after the starting of the genocide, and if it was the same for your own process of writing. And the second one is what role, if it has a role, like, does writing have in this situation that you explained so well of, like, this time perceived as seizure, as, you know, what is the role of writing in this process of erasures of possible futures and at the same time of memories and the past? Thank you.
Haneen, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me, guys? Yeah. So, and personally, for me, writing has changed. I used to write a lot of like humor, comic, stories. So after being in dark times, it's kind of dark times. My writing has become inclined towards writing more of like emotional work about exploring inheritance. I lately have been talking to my grandmother a lot. She doesn't hear me. Her hearing is weak, so we are literally yelling. So because I want to know a lot about our culture, about the past a lot, so I ask her a lot about our stories now. Before I did not, but now I am. So in terms of writing, how it's changed, in that way it has changed. Secondly, I think writing in times of destruction becomes an act of hope, or I would say an act of resistance. You write because, I mean, you might not be able to live or make through. Or I would give an example of Dr. Rifat. He wrote the most famous poem, "If I Must Die," and literally he died, but he wrote it for the younger generation, for us to remember his story and to pass it down to the younger generation, so we can look back and we can hold on to these kind of stories and never forget where we come from, never forget our origin. And I think it's for everyone. It's not only for us, it's for every nation, every people. They hold on to their history, they hold on to their origin through stories and through writing. And yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you. Anybody else online have a response?
I can go.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Before the genocide, I used to write short stories, fiction, lots of fiction. But during the genocide, I found myself writing for one reason, which is not to lose my mind. I was seriously like, writing saved me from going insane because I'm living with my family, my extended family. We're talking about plus 30 people in the same very small place. It was so chaotic, so much noise, very little privacy. And if you want to complain or tell your mama, your grandma, your sister, anyone, living the same life. Everyone is fed up. Everyone is really in a very horrible mental state. So they don't want to hear from you or to hear your issues because they are already dealing with it. So for me, I felt that no one understands me, even though that I'm living with them all, but no one really understands me or gets how do I feel, what are my emotions, and so on. So I started journaling, writing for myself, no matter what, no matter how toxic it is. I was using a journaling app called Day One, and just very lately, the app sent me a notification of what I wrote the same exact day, but last year. I looked at it and was like, "Oh my god!" Like me myself, I could not read what I wrote. I can't believe how horrible the things that I've been through. And I seriously owe a lot to writing because it literally saved me from going crazy.
Thank you for sharing. Khalid, did you want to go?
Yes. So
Please.
yeah. So regarding writing, I can relate to what Hanin and Duha said. At first, when I started writing the beginning of the genocide, my first article was in December after Dr. Rifat Al was killed. I took two courses with him, and he was teaching students on how to write and get their writings published. And so I wanted to honor his memory and write about him for the future generations. And I continued to do the same after my friends were killed, Muhammad and Abdullah. So I believe writing is to preserve memory and to document and archive what happened here in Gaza, what the massacres committed by the Israeli occupation, the peoples who were killed, and and those people are not numbers actually. They are humans who have families, dreams, and everything. And also I can relate to Duha because I was also displaced with around 8 families. We were around like all of us were around like 30 to 40 people in one small area in a school's backyard in Deir el Balah. And during these times, while everybody was focusing on marketing food, water, like wasting their time, I tried as much as I could to do these things and tasks as fast as possible to so I can like do another thing with my life, which was during that time for me it was writing. So yeah.
I just want to add something smaller here about why we are writing. For me, as I think in my bio, Ahmed mentioned that I write to fight dehumanization, but also to document, especially to document the day before tomorrow, because I believe tomorrow is going to come. And I dare say to say it is the tomorrow of victory, because we are going to prevail sooner than later. I believe in that. But in the process to do so, we have to write, to document, to tell the stories. Remember, as Haneen mentioned, Dr. Rifat Al Khalid, he said, if I must die, you must live to tell my story. We are telling the stories. We are owning the narratives. Well, like, I always hear that, like, own your own narratives. And I finally understand this because, like, if you don't know the term memory side, they are trying to kill the memory, like the memory of everything that is happening in Gaza and in the West Bank. Like they are changing the streets, the cities, like they are claiming our foods as if they are their own. And now they are taking the rubble from Gaza within the bodies and all of the evidence of the genocide. Like there's this poem that I wrote, it is called No Head, and it's about a martyr, a young child. He was only 18 months when he was martyred, and it is called No Head. And his father was holding his body and showing to the world, because like they claim that like the H group, they beheaded 40 babies. There was like no evidence on that, and Biden, without any shame, he claimed that narrative. And after that, when they asked about it, like he didn't make any comments. But like this footage, this video, it happened. And they recently, I was trying to find that footage again, and it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist on the internet. Like they already withdraw it, like they erase it, and they are trying to erase it from memory. So writing is our way to document the stories, the way we know them, the way it happened. And I believe like Gazans and Palestinians, they deserve to tell their stories in the way that they want to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmad, for sharing. Layla, is there any questions from the online or in person?
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, Athanasia, did you want to go first? We have a question in the room.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. It's amazing. And I'm so glad you're writing and sharing and documenting and all of that. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are part of our superhero who work in the background with our Coastal Line Press family. So if there is no questions,
I have a question here.
Hi. Yes.
Hi. There was when you were a lot of you were talking about time under siege and your minds under siege. I had to think very often about a talk from Susan Abu Hawa, I think 1.5 years ago. It was about the question about military intervention into Gaza to get an aid. And she was talking about, I think, 15 minutes on an international webinar. And she was talking about the psychological conditions. I don't know whether she was talking about the West or the world. I think about the West. She was talking about learned helplessness. And she was talking about a frog and a ghoul bunny. So she I think she tried to talk about what's the psychological, what's going on with the West, not doing anything, not enough. And yeah, I was thinking a lot about that question. I don't know how I can pose the question, but that is not even going deeper with that question, but going all the way through to answer this question. Yeah.
Anybody from the panel?
Our speakers, would you like to go? If you don't, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead, Ahmed, and I can say something about the military intervention.
Okay. So for your question, I
think let's see what they say.
About the intervention, I don't think that any intervention would happen. And the current talk about having an international military group or observant group or whatever they want to call it, it's just a security precaution, if we can say so, in security studies terms, like to be very academic. But in terms of what is happening psychologically to the Western mind, I don't believe that there is much that is happening that they don't intervene. In that this is not the first genocide, and by no means, and I don't mean any disrespect, but also as a Palestinian, I truly believe that we are not a special people. The people of Iran are facing a war that is totally illegitimate and illegal and total nonsense. Other people have faced other genocides, even in Europe, and they don't care. It's not that we are less or more of a human, or that Rwanda was less or more. It's that there is this conditioning that happens to run within even textbooks, like schools and higher education within Europe, that I can say for a slight confidence. I'm still researching this, that the Europeans in general, without specifying, but this is a running theme, they don't care about a crime that happens outside of Europe. And we have seen this situation with Ukraine and Palestine dichotomy. We're seeing a very mass acceptance of Ukrainians, and we have no hard feelings for Ukrainians. We see similarities more than differences with them, but we also see how the Europeans are dealing with this question. Totally different answer. We're also, I believe that there is a few conditions for the European soul or conscious to reply back. The crime has to be in Europe, like in homeland European continent. Otherwise, they don't care. One, the victim has to be a European, so they do care. The victim has to be a child, a European child or woman, maybe a slight care for man. These are the conditions. And if these conditions don't happen, they don't care. They don't care if 5 billion people in Afghanistan die. Not a single F is going to be paid. They don't care if 5 million Palestinians die. They just simply don't care. But God forbid, a cow says, I'm hungry in Switzerland. We would see 5 million policies, governance legislations, and new parliament made for cows. We love them, but there is far greater importance, in my opinion, to human life. That this is just insanity. To us, it's insanity. To them, it's perfectly making sense. It's those who are human and those who are not. And the second you leave out the airport and get into the international section of the airport in Europe, you're gone. You are no longer part of the human race, just simply because of ignorance and arrogance. And I would dare to say it's new colonialism that is running on very good soft power and soft laws. That we are seeing the new age of feudalism, also the new age of capitalism. So they don't need to shoot you. You just get shot in your home. They don't need to send rockets. The rocket will get to you. So this is the age and the era that we're living in, and we're still figuring out how to fight back. Yes, Laha.
I just wanted to say that I got really touched when you mentioned the situation in Ukraine. When I first came here, everyone was comparing what's going on in Palestine with what's going on in Ukraine, while there's no comparison. There's no comparison at all between what's going on in Gaza and what's going on in Ukraine. And leave that aside. And I'm in Ireland, and Ireland has been so good with Palestinians, but still like the airport in Ireland is the airport that delivers all the arms to Israel. So they and until now there's no any practical step in doing so. Like every Saturday people go and sorry. Every Saturday, people go there and march and everything, but still nothing has been done on ground till this very moment. And going back to Ukraine, Ireland welcomed a huge number of Ukrainian immigrants, but now they are refusing the visas of Palestinians, of Gazans to come to Ireland to study. Like these are students who have full scholarships, fully funded scholarships until now their visas have been abandoned. So there's like a huge kind of hypocrisy, a huge kind of I don't know what to call it. And 2 days ago, I was reading an article written by a Palestinian girl who was evacuated during the genocide, and she's staying in France. And she was talking a lot about how everywhere she goes, she sees the Ukrainian flag, while rising the Palestinian flag is considered a huge issue there. So, of course, like complicity is everywhere.
Thank you, Duha. Leila, do we still have time, or like I feel like we're already past our talking time, right?
Please go ahead. Go ahead, Ahmed.
Yeah, I wanted to echo what Ahmed said, and I will make it short. Like because like this situation is happening in Sudan. I don't know if you know a lot about Sudan, but like last December, a city like a huge city in Sudan, Al Fajr, has been fallen, and a lot of casualties did fall, and a lot of deaths. And now Al Ubayyad, another city, is being also besieged by the RSF. And we all know who's behind it. It wasn't proven because like Sudan issued, tried to compile a file and send it to the ICJ, but they said that it was incomplete, so this was disregarded. But now even the European Union realized and recognized that the issue, the one who's behind everything that's happening in Sudan is the UAE, and complicit with it, of course, USA and Israel. And they have been asking for a military intervention for a very, very long time. And now that has been proven and it is being recognized by European Union, by the whole nations of the world, like the UN nations, but no one is moving or doing anything. So I don't believe in military intervention. I believe in people's intervention. Like when the flotilla happens, the march to Gaza, and everyone who's aiding and supporting the Gazans to get out of Gaza when the genocide starts. And this is what we want to do here, and this is what you should start doing. I know that there's a lot of people now, they say that they support Palestine, and there's like left and right parties and green parties and everything. But I believe the whole system is corrupt. We need to dismantle the whole system and build it up from the ground. There's a lot of supporters of Palestine that they don't align with most of those parties, and this is what we should do now. Like the people, they have the power. You are a lot, like we are outnumbering them, and we can build the system that we can all live in peace and harmony together in it, and they shouldn't have the upper hand over that. So this is what we should do: the people's intervention, building our own systems and dismantle all of the colonial capitalist and imperialist authorities and nations and countries and individuals. This is the way. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions in the room? No? Online? Shahad. Hi, Shahad.
Hi everyone. I don't have a question, but I wanted to say that I'm so proud of you guys. You did amazing job, and I was really enjoying listening to your words. It was all echoing with me. So thank you so much, and I really hope that the audience also enjoyed, and that your words touch their hearts. So thank you so much for this beautiful heart breaking and in the same time very important event. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Shahad.
Evangeline.
Evangeline, we saw your hand go up.
Oh, I was just going to say something similar to Shahid. I was just really inspired by everything that was said and deeply moved and grateful for all the panelists and the perspectives they shared. They're very meaningful. I believe that history, which is kind of our spirit of time, it's like a umbilical cord to which we are all connected. And so what happens in time in Gaza is not separate, even though it feels separate. We are not separate, and that what happens to one group of humanity is bound to happen to us all. And so I'm very grateful to have learned from you and heard of your experiences, so that hopefully all together we can, as Ahmed said at the end there, build better communities. And I would just say that kind of connecting to what Ahmed had said is, in certain knowledge systems, particularly European, there is an idea that some people are owners of existence. They are absolute kings, or they are, absolute power monarchs, controllers of humanity. And in the Islamic perspective, no human being is the owner of existence. And so we are required in Islam to defy anybody who puts themselves as the authority over mankind, because this is against our principles of faith. And so I would encourage any European audience to question why in their knowledge system there is a belief that they are owners of existence, and what is the root of that belief. And for sure, you're going to find yourself in colonialism and resource extraction and various abuses of power and exploitation. So I should probably end there. And I'm just really happy for this event. It was so powerful, and I look forward to many others.
Thank you, Evangeline. And if there is no question, we can. Any questions?
No other questions in the room? Last call? No? Maybe you.
Okay, we can move to the ending part. With all of the time exploration that we did on this panel today, time is still moving forward for all of us. And to contest with the title of the event, Tomorrow is You. Make sure to do your best for your friends, for yourself, for your family, for your community. Tomorrow is you, and tomorrow is us. Thank you for attending, and see you on the next panel soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Layla, I thought it's Zagruta in the beginning.
So I have nothing further to say here, other than thank you all so much. It's a pretty full room here, so you've got a good audience that have been really excited and interested by everything that you're saying. I will say once more that the zines that the authors have worked on are all over here. Ahmed didn't introduce himself, but his zine is also here as well. He's a brilliant writer, very, very witty, and an extremely good storyteller, as you can tell. So please come by. If you have a voucher, you can redeem it over here. We also have postcards and prints for you to take a look at as well. And 100% of the proceeds go directly to the authors. So thank you so much, and thank you once more, Casino, for hosting us. We really appreciate it. please head over and grab a drink and tip the bartenders nicely. Thank you all, and thank you all for online for joining as well.
Before we close, can I ask Ahmed, please, if he can repeat the final words that he said, because I wanted to record it. If there is no any issues, I wanted to record it and save it and share it everywhere. So if you don't mind, please.
Like the last part? Or, okay, when like the thank you, or like after it, I can send you the text. It's okay.
I don't wanna the test. I wanna you
Okay.
saying the words.
Okay, some plagiarism. Okay, Shahid, I can repeat because this is a happy hour. I hope you're recording now, are you?
Yes,
Shahid.
hopefully that my laptop is working and nothing suddenly. So yeah, you can start.
Okay. Okay, with all of the time exploration that we did today on this panel, time is still moving forward for us all. To contest with the title of the event, Tomorrow is You. Make sure to do your best for your friends, for yourself, for your family, and your community. Tomorrow is you, tomorrow is us. Thank you for attending and see you on the next panel soon.
Thank you.
I think also a really wonderful segue. We just heard from Shahab, and Shahab will be doing a workshop over here on the 26th of August from 7:30 p.m. I believe. And the workshop is called Library in Gaza, exploring what these spaces mean. And it's a workshop that reflects on the meaning of libraries through stories, conversation, and gentle writing exercise. And I've attended Shahad's workshops, and they are really, really incredible. So I encourage you all to attend. And to stay up to date with everything that we're working on, follow us on Instagram, Zines from Gaza, and Substack as well, is where a lot of the writing is published. Yes, that's it for me. Thank you all once more.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you in the next one. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.